Morning, everyone. I'm here today speaking with Neil Griffin, Business Support Director from Oxford Innovation. Welcome, Neil.
Thanks, Arthur. Good to be here. Good to see the setup in your office now.
Yeah.
Always good to see a centre, and I try and get out and about. So it's nice to come and visit you face to face.
Brilliant. I'm so happy to have you here. Neil, for our audience, people that don't know who you are, can you give us a little bit more background about who you are and how you arrived to this position?
Yeah, I mean, I've recently been appointed to the board of Oxford Innovation Space as the business support director to take the business support function on to the next level as our USP in the business. I was previously an innovation director with Oxford Innovation for 4.5 years, so I kind of hopefully know what I'm doing and the landscape and be able to lead the innovation directors going forward. And before that, I guess my background was quite diverse. So I've kind of been in academia. I've got an MBA. I've studied consultancy and management to kind of chartership level. So I've got that kind of academic background, so the theory behind it, and I wanted to do that. I've been a non-exec director for some businesses, commercial and I guess sustainability businesses, so kind of low carbon businesses. That's always useful to be on the boards for those. And then my background originally is retail, so kind of that whole kind of multi-site P&L, really in depth in the business, managing multi-site managers, e-commerce, marketing, HR. I guess I consider myself a generalist. Is probably the best way of explaining what I do, my background. And because of the nature of retail, it was always fast-paced and it was always moving really quickly. So from a sales point of view, leadership point of view, best practice point of view, I was always kind of up to speed, and that's what I like doing. I was a retail director for Adnams Brewery, so it got me involved in a lot of the businesses, and it allowed me to transition into what I'm doing now. They were very, very good at educating and allowing personal development. So that was always really useful. And then previously to that, I was in hospitality randomly. So my first degree was in hospitality management, and that I think has probably helped to gear me up towards the people side of it, because I do believe it's a people game with business. So actually that personal relationship, even though we're in a digital world, I think it's really important. So always good to come and see people on site.
I have a question for you. You know what intrigues me? Like, because yourself, like myself, before doing this, like a coaching business support, we've been like a very much hands-on, like building stuff. Yeah. How do you find this transition from doing things, building business, to coaching and supporting ventures?
I mean, it's different. I've had my own coaching and consultancy business, and that's still going in the background. I will go and do lectures and things if I get a chance to do that. That's always really helpful to kind of get a view of the ground still, because I think you need to do that. I think it's helped coming up through a big organization that was innovative. So I'd always see myself as an intrapreneur rather than an entrepreneur, and then transitioned into an entrepreneur later. So it's the other way around, whereas most people start as an entrepreneur and then build a bigger business and then come out of it. I've done it the other way around, I suppose. But I think you need to, if you're coaching people, you need to have been through it. You need to have been through the pain, and you need to have been through hard decisions. And even in a bigger company, I had to make hard decisions on a kind of a smaller level, because that's what you have to do, so you can coach people through it. So I'll always be hands-on. Oxford Innovation Space is not a big company. There's 155 people now. Yes, it's 31 sites, but I feel I'm quite hands-on. There's things that we're doing now, and I'm having to get into the detail of it and actually be part of it, and that's good. That's good. That's good because it shows people I'm interested, and it shows people I'll do what I say I'm going to do, and also, if I'm doing it, then people are more likely to follow.
So that brings interesting subject to me. So there's like so many coaches out there, so many mentors out there. You go to LinkedIn and then you see like advice how to build like billions ventures and all that.
Yeah.
And what makes our coaching at Oxford Innovation different to anything else that's out there?
I think it's the bespoke nature of it. I think if you go to certainly programs that are out there and trying to take you through a step by step. That's good, but there's no. You might often not need it when you need it. So it's kind of one of those situations where there's a lot of programs out there. There's a lot of people that kind of take you through a process, which is good. But I think there's that ad hoc coaching when you need it is what we do, and that's what we provide. That I think is the USP. We do use frameworks. We use ILM, T-Grow. We've got diagnostic tools. We've got all the frameworks there that other coaches and practices will use. But I also think it's like here, your office is right by reception, and if someone's got a problem, they can come and knock on the door. That's our USP, and no one else is really doing that.
I agree.
And it's kind of like when a founder's in trouble and they need support, we've got that network to be able to help them there and then. I think that's the difference.
So just to touch on that, whenever there are programs organized by a number of organizations, usually have 6, 12 weeks, 3 months, 12 months programs where you go as a cohort.
Yeah.
And it's week 1 you learn this, week 1, week 3, but it's not as tailored as that's what I observed here. People would come into my office and be like, you know what? I just launched this SaaS platform, and
I think it depends where you're on your journey. If you're new to the environment and new to business, those programs help. There's Help to Grow programs that I discussed with someone this morning. They're good. They're good programs. You do get to learn HR, marketing, sales, finance, whatever, all the things you need to run a business, and the outputs, a business model canvas, action planning. That's great. But if you've been in business a long time, you'll instinctively know that. And a lot of people read a lot of books, but it's what do they do with that knowledge? You've got to take action. And I think that's where we come in. We hold people to account. We do it in a bespoke way that's more natural. And I don't think you can replicate that easily. Because you need the kind of boots on the ground to be able to just have that conversation. And you need to have credibility, right, as well, because that's the nature of it. A founder or a business owner, if you're going to be their sounding board, they need to know you've got the experience to be able to deal with the situations they've got.
Yeah, 100%. And I was part myself many years ago, part of the cohort type of a program. And I remember an incredible value that enabled so many connections. But what you just said, having this a follow-up support when someone's meeting with you a weekly, bi-weekly, to touch base about your challenges.
Yes, yeah.
And help you to solve that.
I think what I've learned, having a structure and routine is really useful, and it's about repetition. And that's the same in any type of learning. Repetition is the mother of learning. So you've got to keep going through with it. If you just do a program and stop, that doesn't benefit anybody.
Yeah.
You have to keep that ongoing aftercare, what we call it, going forward. And that's when the value comes into it. And you can, you work on that. You might not see someone for a few weeks or months, and then they come back, and then you can do something different. So they're just building on their knowledge the whole time, which I think is helpful.
So, very often when customers come to me, I don't know it all. So there are different areas of expertise. That could be a science, biotech, medtech. It could be a SaaS platform in whatever industry. So there is a lot of knowledge to have. So what do we do when the business support at the center can provide the support?
I mean, I think that's interesting. You're never going to know everything, are you?
Yeah.
And I said, I'm a generalist. I've got specific background knowledge in certain areas. I can advise in certain areas, but it's also one of those things where the founder needs to take ownership of it. We would never tell anyone what to do. We just kind of coach them through the process or mentor them through the process. I would say that a lot of the time the founder either knows the solution or can be coached and mentored into find a solution, as in we're signposting them to either a local ecosystem or, I don't know, something like a growth hub, or it might well be a program or some workshop that's going on locally. We can do that, we can facilitate that. But I think the power of our network is really interesting. We've got 31 centres. There's 19 business support specialists now across the UK, innovation directors, business growth managers. They've all got a specific USP and discipline, and we can triage that across our network now. So if you need someone who has been in SaaS businesses, we would go to you. If someone needs help with internationalization, we've got Gary in Haverhill. If someone is looking at bioscience and life sciences, we've got Wendy in Oxford. And that we've built that network up with really kind of high quality professionals. So we've got the network now, and we can virtually put those businesses in front of the right expert now. Within a short period of time. We're triaging stuff really quickly and diagnosing stuff really quickly, and that's the power, isn't it? Getting to them, getting the support to the businesses when they need it.
Brilliant. So I have so many follow-up questions. So I guess the first follow-up question that comes to my mind is there is a lot of innovation centers popping out like right now, a lot of like co-working places, and we have 30 centers in our portfolio. So I wanted to ask you, like, what makes us different than other centers? And what we've built, some people might not know, but Oxford Innovation has been for how long, providing business support?
Oxford Innovation has been around for about 35 years. It was a spin out from Oxford University originally, and it was started with three things in mind, and I don't think that's changed. One is access to finance, because we know that that's one of the big reasons that startups fail: cash flow, access to money. The second was providing advice, and that's support. And the third is providing flexible, affordable workspace. They're the three things that we build our mantra on. We have Oxford Innovation Space that provides the flexible working space, which is where we work. Oxford Innovation Advice does more of the programs, Innovate UK programs, links in with universities, councils, sort of higher authorities. And Oxford Innovation Finance is our angel network, so we've got access to finance through that, and we can push people to that and recommend them from our centres, so it gives them a bit of an advantage. So we've got three kind of elements to Oxford Innovation. Where I see Oxford Innovation Space sitting is that I think it's unique. When you look at what other workspaces are out there, innovation spaces, we win a lot of bids and tenders because of our full package. It's our network, it's the expertise in the business. We look at three things. It's always good to work in three. So the innovation directors look at one-to-one business support, mentoring as the kind of bread and butter of what we do. We look at how we help nurture ecosystems and how we can kind of ignite that in the local area. That might be through regeneration. It might be through business support. It might be, bringing people together and looking into the building, but also looking out of the building. I know you work with, Salford University. That's really helpful, and building that collaboration is really helpful, because you can't do it on your own. And then the third aspect is what we call animating the centres, and that's again putting specific workshops on for businesses in our centres, but also working with partners. We across the network, we work with FSB, we work with angel groups, various different organisations that again helps to collaborate and get the information in front of the businesses that we have, because that's what it's about. So I think we are more than just workspace. I think we're more than just co-working. And our offer is unique. We do hot desking, co-working, flexible office space on a month's notice, small offices, big offices. We have cafes in a lot of our centres. We have meeting rooms. We do events. It's bigger than the sum of its parts, and the business support, once you add that in, I think it's difficult to replicate. And we've seen it with someone like WeWork, that their business model, for some reason, never seems to be stable. It's just co-working, and they're trying to, not to badmouth WeWork, but from what I see on the outside, they're trying to get that collaboration to work, but there's no one really inside that's pulling people together. And I think we pull people together inside the centres to collaborate, work together, work on projects, and that wood and money that goes around the centre helps with peer-to-peer network. It helps mates rates and doing favors for each other, which helps both businesses. And then we've got projects that link into universities and councils. So there's a lot there, but that's great value for us and for people we work with.
And that brings me to another question. So, as part of the business support, we offer a lot of like tools which are almost unattainable if you were to go directly to those suppliers. Can you tell a little bit more about the discounts we have for software, what software we offer, and what's like within this like business support package?
Yeah, I think it does set us apart. We've got so the packages of what we offer will be on the platform, but we offer them anyway in our centres that have business support. We've got a few different things that we would champion. You know, the first thing is Growth Mapper, which is Oxford Innovation IP, and that's a really good diagnostic tool. It gets to the guts of a business really quite quickly, and it's an online portal. And what you would do is you would coach the founder through it, and you'd have the founder and up to 8 other people, you know, log in and fill out a questionnaire, 50 kind of profile questionnaire, and it filters it into 8 segments of the business, you know, sales, marketing, leadership. And what it helps us to identify is the gaps. So it's a gap analysis in that business, and we're trained on it, so we can coach people through it. And again, we're not telling people what to do, but it highlights and it cuts through the business so they understand what they need to focus on, and then we can help them build action plans, business model canvases. So it takes them through a process. And there are other things out there like this, but I think Growth Mapper, because it's been around for 30 years, it's just been updated all the time. So it's a really good tool to be able to use. So that's just a really, you know, powerful tool that we have access to that we need to do more with. It's probably not as visible as it could be.
Another platform is Bohorst. I think it's quite interesting one, and I get questions about it all the time. Like, so can you tell a bit more about that?
So Bohorst, we have access to Bohorst. We use it for a number of different reasons. So Bohorst scrapes the internet for various information about a company. It's all open source, so it tends to be from Companies House. Anytime a company raises investment or is in the news, it triggers analytics on Bohorst, and Bohorst will start to track it. So that's really useful. We can look for grants and investment for a specific company. So we basically sit down with the company and plug what they're looking for into the platform, and that then gives out a nice report on grants and investment. So it means they can then go after the right investment at the right time for them. We've done the kind of the sifting for them. So that's primarily what we use it for. We have used it for market valuation. So I did an exercise with a company last year that was raising investment. They weren't sure what to, you know, company valuations are always quite difficult, but what they wanted to do was see 2 or 3 specific companies that are on the same level as them at the same time previously, and what investment they got based on their valuation. So they were able to see that, and what it meant is that their valuation was raised by about 1.5 million, because they could show benchmarking. They could show actual data that people had invested in a similar company at the same level, and it just helped them to move their investment around much quicker. And that's just a really quick example of how we've helped someone just by the tools we have.
There's another example which we just recently used with a customer, and they're like a very niche B2B SaaS, and they have like a few customers. So we generated like a very specific list of a company size, location, revenue, when there was like funded, and we extracted a list of around 100 businesses. And then what they were able to do is to create like a very targeted advertisement campaign to those businesses. So there are so many use cases. We're going to drop an article to a link to Bohorst platform so you can have a better look. And before I segue towards the end of this conversation, I also wanted to mention the partnership with AWS.
Yes, we're an Amazon partner. It's for the Amazon Activate program. There's not that many organizations in the world that have access to it. I think it's 160 last count. And you know what that does is it means that we can sit down with a founder, and if they need access to AWS credits, we can give them $5,000 worth of AWS credits. So there's a form to fill out online. It's making sure we do the diligence, but it means that they can get access to AWS credits within their Amazon account really quite quickly. And you can use that for various different things within your business. You can use it for cloud computing. Some people use it for CRM. You can use it for, even hosting websites. So there's lots of, technical aspects. I'm sure you know more about, the technical aspects than I do. But what it does is it gives people a leg up again. $5,000 worth. It's an American company. That's why it's in dollars. It's useful if they're using it already. If they're paying out for it already, why not just come to us and we can get it for them for free, so they could save themselves money, and then it just helps them on their way. That's probably the best way of, I guess, talking about it. And we've found a lot of companies that use it and get the benefit of it really quite quickly.
Great, brilliant. Neil, I have a few questions to finish our chat, and this is like more personal. Okay, so what are the books, experiences in your life, or maybe tools that change your career trajectory for better?
I am a massive reader. I even set a goal once a year to read 24 books in a year so that I could just get it out of my system. Or I felt it should get out of my system. That didn't work. I still pick up books. I've still got probably 4 or 5 on my bookshelf that I want to read. So there's loads out there. I mean, the first thing I would say is that if you're going to read a book or watch a webinar, make some notes on it. And if it's relevant to you, action it. Because otherwise, what's the point? If you found it interesting and it resonated, action it. And a lot of people just read for the sake of reading and they just keep going. But actually, you've probably got the knowledge. It's implementing the knowledge. And that's not to say you shouldn't read, because I think it is. I mean, there's loads of books I recommend. I mean, what's really helped me is that when I was at a crossroads, I came across a company called Mindspan, and they helped me at the time and my team, so quite a big team of managers, and that's around mindset, attitude, and I ended up becoming a coach with them, so I'm a licensed coach with them, so I'm a Mindspan coach as well. That kind of stoic mentality, influence, what you can influence, what to let go, setting goals, affirmations, implementing it so you actually achieve stuff. So it's not, I would say it's mindset and mindfulness stuff can be quite fluffy. This is not that. This is very much you take action. You have to take action to get you in where you need to. So it goes back to what you're saying, you've got to start and then have goals over short, medium, long-term time. That's the biggest, probably the one biggest thing that turned my career around from being kind of middle management to igniting where I wanted to get to. And that helped me to get into exec level coaching, passing knowledge on. So something like that, there's a lot of stuff out there like that. So that's probably one of the biggest things.
And how did you come across them? Was that intro for like your company?
It was intro for the company. Yeah, it was very much they're big on personal development. It's a personal development practice more than anything. So I'm a big believer in you need to keep learning. You need to keep moving yourself forward. Otherwise, you get stale. And I think everybody needs someone to talk to, and everyone needs to learn. And even if you're a CEO of a big company, you need that sounding board. You need to have that peer network. So I'm a big believer in everyone should have a coach or a mentor in some guise, and that's what the practice is. So that's one thing. I mean, there's loads of other books. I've got, I look at companies and things resonate with me. So something like Netflix, how that innovated and started and moved forward. So there's books on there, there's mantras on Netflix. I've just read The Ride of a Lifetime from Bob Iger, who was the CEO of Disney, and how he pivoted, moved things forward, storytelling, how you can weave leadership into it. I think if you're going to read a book, it has to be interesting for you, and you have to make sure that one, you finish it, and two, if you don't finish it, then it's not really what you want to do. You've got, what is it you want to do?
Oh,
do you know what I mean?
I'm the kind of person that skips the books very often. Like I would just read what's interesting for me, and then move from chapter to chapter and read a book in a day.
Yeah. Well, I did that. I mean,
Yeah.
when I was studying, you skim read because you're learning to pass an exam.
Yeah.
And I read for joy now, and I read business books, but I also read, I don't know, sci-fi, or I have to have fiction and non-fiction, otherwise I think it just gets quite stale. But I mean, yeah, maybe we should do a book recommendation list or something for
you know
people.
what? I'm going to ask you following this interview. So we're going to attach this to the article so people can see maybe your top 10 books.
Yeah, that'd be good. I think, and something for the Wire, actually. Now I'm thinking about that. We should probably have, book recommendations. And
library. And you mentioned like taking notes and actioning what you learn from books, like workshops. Like, how do you do that? Like today, like what's your way of taking notes and scheduling actions?
I go old school, to be fair. So I will have a physical book. I can't do ebooks, and I listen to podcasts, but books. I have a physical book, and I normally go on Amazon and get it £2 or £3 or whatever, and just a decent copy. Doesn't have to be brand new, and then I will have a pen and paper, and I will write the page, and then anything interesting. It might be a quote, it might be a practice, it might be a nod to go back and look at that page, and then it might be, I don't know, 4 or 5 pages of A5, and I'll stick it in the book, and I'll put it on my shelf. So it's referenced, if you like, so that if I remind myself of something, I know where it is and I can go to it, and it's there. And then how I action stuff, I was given a productivity tool probably 10 years ago, Eisenhower Matrix. So every day I do an Eisenhower Matrix, and I do that on my digital pad, and it is broken into 4 sections. One is do today, one is schedule, one is delegate, and the other is don't do. So you're mind mapping your day on a page, and the things in your column you need to do, you do. They're the priorities. Nothing else matters. Other things you can schedule, other things you can delegate to someone probably, and the other thing is you've acknowledged it, but you don't do it. So your productivity goes up massively.
Oh, brilliant!
By doing that.
I think again we're gonna link this Eisenhower matrix. I think I use it myself as well. Super valuable.
Yeah, I think it's really valuable for people. People always say they've got no time, but it's a productivity thing and an importance thing. You've always got time to do the things that you need to do. I'm a big believer in that, and I would do that, and then I set goals based on mind span affirmational approaches. So I'll have daily goals and how I want to be, and then I'll have monthly goals, 3-month goals, 6-month goals, and yearly goals, and they're descriptive and they are in the future, but I put them in present tense. So maybe we do another one about that, but that's the form of goal setting that's descriptive, and it means that you're more likely to do it because you've written it down and that you achieve.
Okay, brilliant. I think that's going to be our next interview about goal settings for personal and business growth. And that's where I'd like to finish, Neil. Really enjoyed this chat. It was brilliant learning more about business support at Oxford Innovation, about upcoming The Wire platform, about books and frameworks you use in your day-to-day life. So thank you so much for sharing all of that with us.
No problem.
And I hope to see you again very soon.
Yeah, no, thanks. It's been really good.
Brilliant. Thank you.
All right,
Thank you,
thanks
everyone.
a lot.